Brian, quick question. I am not
Yes.
a panelist, so and is it possible for me to go into one of the rooms to view? So I don't have to be on this grid.
Okay, so Finalfi, I'm glad you said that. That did also remind me of something. If you are done on the program and you have no other thing to present, we encourage you all to just leave so that your image is on the screen. If you look at the top right, there's a leave button that is red next to your icon of an eyeball. Clicking that button won't actually take you out of the room. If you click leave, you'll be able to see everything here. You just will no longer be able to turn on your camera or microphone. So, and you can't post in the chat.
Gladys, you're on. Gladys, you were just on.
I switched
You see Senator Robinson joining us.
Yeah, she was
So
on.
I would recommend that if you're done with the program, for instance, Sherry, once you're done with your piece, you can click leave. You'll be able to see everything. You won't need to join the table, but it does take your icon off the screen.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. And Congresswoman Adams is actually on. She'll turn on everything shortly, but I believe she can hear.
Okay.
Okay, Brian, I'm definitely leaving after I read that. So the leave button is where again?
It's going to be at your top right. You'll see 7 out of 20 and an eyeball with the number 10. And then you'll see a leave button. And it's in the black window pane.
Yeah, and I don't see that up there. I've had so many struggles this morning. I don't see it, but I'll get out. I will leave after I do that. And if I don't leave me, you leave me, okay?
And if you don't see that leave button, you still want to view, you can just go to one of our general admission tables. You'll be able to see that.
Brian,
Yes.
if I leave, because I'm doing the closing prayer, if I leave, how do I get back in? Just go back to white breakfast and program table?
So if you click the leave button, you'll still be in this room. Then we just can't see you. And what it'll show is share audio and video. So you won't be able, you won't actually be out, but she just left us.
And I get on Zoom all the time and I leave and I come back, but I don't even see the button that says.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, ladies, I'm actually going to have to start the program right now. It is 10 o'clock.
Okay.
So everyone can mute their microphone. And if you desire to turn off your camera, you can do so as well.
Morning, Gladys.
Good morning.
You want us to mute our phones now?
Yes. Please mute and turn off your cameras. Or you can keep them on, but at least mute.
I better keep mine on. I had to switch computers. Is that going to bother you if we keep the camera on?
No, it won't.
Okay.
All right, I'm sharing now. You'll be able to see.
Good morning, Bennett alumni, and welcome to the White Breakfast. Before we get started this morning, we would like to take you on a brief tour of the Hopin platform.
Good morning, Bennett alumni.
In the main reception area, you will find announcements that will be posted throughout the day.
We would like to take you on a brief
You'll find
tour of the
information on
Hopin
giving,
platform.
how to network with
In the main
friends,
reception area,
and our
you will
vendors
find
that are
announcements
located in the
posted
expo.
throughout the day.
As you
You'll
scroll
find
further
information
down,
on
you'll have a
giving,
chance to
how to
review the
network with
overall
friends,
schedule for this morning.
and our vendors that are
To the right,
located
you
in
may
the
participate
expo.
in the event chat,
As you scroll further
polls
down,
that are
you'll have a
posted
chance
throughout
to
the
review
morning,
overall
and have a
schedule for this
chance to
morning.
go through the list of people that
To
are
the
in
right, you
attendance
may
today.
participate in the event
If you would
chat,
like to connect with someone
polls that are
specific,
posted throughout
you
the
may
morning,
type their name in the
and have
search
a
bar.
chance to go
When
through
you
the list
find
of
who you
people
want
that
to
are in
connect
attendance
with, you
today.
can click on their name,
If you would like to
and
connect
you
with
can
someone
connect with them by
specific,
inviting them to a
you
video
may type their
chat,
name in the search bar.
participating in
When you
Bell
find
Connect,
who you want
or
to
sending
connect
them a
with,
direct
you can click on
message.
their name,
The Q&A
and you
is
can
not
connect with them
enabled
by
for this
inviting
event.
them to a video chat.
Along the left dashboard, you will find White Breakfast. This area is where all of the tables are located for the main program. You will only see the tables that are associated with your ticket type. When you find a table that you would like to sit at, please make sure that you look at the eye in the bottom right-hand corner. This lets you know how many people are already occupying the table. At the table title, you will also see the number of seats that are available. If you do not see any seats available at this particular table, please proceed to the next table. There are tables set up by class, and all the way at the bottom, you will also see tables that are set up for general admission, where you can pick and choose a table at your leisure. Networking is also available. This option will be discussed at the end of the main program today. In the Vendor Expo, you will find a help desk if you have any technical issues or questions regarding the program. We have staff available and ready to help. You also have 4 different vendors that you can shop with today by clicking on a link and participating in a video shopping experience with those vendors. If you would like to give today, click on the giving link and it will open up in a separate tab where you can fill out the form at your leisure and give back to the Bennett College National Alumni Association. At any time, you may return back to the reception page for additional announcements. We hope you enjoy your program and we have a wonderful day.
Ms. Watts, I'm gonna need those pennants. Those are good. That's like a collection. That is a historic collection. Love it. Oh, am I not supposed to be on yet? Sorry, Ms. Sharp. Hey, Gladys Robinson, chairwoman.
Good morning, Madam President. How are you?
I'm trying to stay sane like everyone else, I think. Ms. Todd, I saw you appreciated that. Are you in the same boat?
I am. Oh,
Good
but
morning, and it's very nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you. Hi, Ms. Keith.
Good morning. I'm trying to keep the dog from barking.
I feel like that's the beginning of every time I'm trying to do something during the pandemic. I'm trying to keep the dog quiet. Usually other people have children running in the background and grandchildren, and
I have that too. and a daughter who has reacted to the virus and need to get her to the hospital. She has hives. She's reacted to the vaccine.
The vaccine. Oh shoot.
yeah.
And a
And she must
4-month-old
be in that
baby.
age group. She's in that, what?
She's
30
44.
something.
She's 44, yeah.
Good morning and welcome to the 2021 Virtual White Breakfast. This is the kickoff of a week of wonderful activities that the BCNNA has planned for Bennett Bells. Bennett Bells, my sisters, friends, and certainly the golden class of this year. We welcome all of you to this event.
We know that if we could, we would be together in hugging and cheering and shouting and carrying on. But because of technology, there still is a way to be connected. Let me just say also, the concept of the white breakfast is not new. We are fulfilling a traditional event, a traditional value that began back in 1932 under the 9th president, Dr. David Jones and his wife. Many of you know the history, but many years ago, over 80, many years ago, our sisters could not go home at Thanksgiving. And so Dr. and Mrs. Jones felt it necessary that the girls do community service and then come back to the student union all dressed up to have a fellowship at Thanksgiving. And so, as you know, through the years, many things have transpired. The traditional breakfast, jazz events, and others, all in the name of Bennett College. We want to thank everyone, and we have an outstanding program that's lined up today. As we begin, I'd like to introduce Golden Bell, Reverend Belinda Robinson, who will now give us the invocation.
Ooh, you're on mute. There you go. Oh, nope, back again on mute.
All right, can you hear me? Going back. All right. So to our esteemed president, to our illustrious program dignitaries, and to my Bennett Bells, good morning. Let's bow our heads and open our hearts. Heavenly Father, on this Sunday morning, in the great year of 2021, we call forth your Holy Spirit to pour out on us a blessing. Pour out a blessing on this wonderful institution of higher learning, Bennett College. Bennett, a beacon of light that beckoned us all to come within her walls. Lord, we give thanks for the privilege of receiving an elite education. We thank you for wise leadership and extraordinary faculty and valuable mentors, lasting friendships, but especially for your eternal guidance. We are grateful women of color who've been prepared by your vision for leadership and civic engagement. We've embraced your vision to become global citizens, innovative entrepreneurs, and excellent communicators. We realize that an institution such as Bennett, founded over 140 years ago, could only have survived because of you, Lord, a Lord who makes all things possible. Continue, Lord, to bring forth a future filled with grace and mercy. And as we celebrate today, this wonderful legacy, we commemorate those who came before us to light the way. We memorialize the Bells who left us too early. We celebrate the future that you, Lord, because we know that you, Lord, will never leave us nor forsake us. Bennett and its times are in your hands. And so today, with virtual hugs, we recall our life's journeys of victories and defeats, joys and sorrows. And with grateful hearts, we give you thanks till the evening shadows fall, till we heed our last clear call. May the light that is Bennett College remain in our hearts forever. Amen, amen, and amen.
And now we will have a series of opportunities for you to participate, and to you that are honored, the classes of 71, 70, and 96. The class of 96 is their Civil Bell year. We will have our tribute by invocation by Golden Bell Sherry Keith Peterson. We will have a memorial tribute. There will be a pictorial journey of honor classes, followed by the preface song. And I'm sure all of you have your hanky or that napkin that came in the box. And yes, before all of that, the beautiful sentimental song, Tell Me Why. Tell me why the stars do shine. Tell me why the eyes wide. Tell me why the sky is so blue. Tell me, oh Bennett, just why I love you. Because God made the stars to shine. Because God made the eye between. Because God made the sky so blue. God made all Bennett. That's why I love you. All right, great, ladies, great.
Good morning, my Bennett sisters. A special greeting to all of you, especially my Golden Bell sisters. It's a privilege to see all of you today.
A new camera. That's why you can select that new camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a short poem for you this morning. Because you are a woman, strength, wisdom, and compassion are your gifts. Because of your faith, you have the courage to move mountains. Because you are phenomenal Bennett Bells, you are a leader. Your leaders prepared to shape the future. Whatever you can envision, you can achieve. I charge you now to go forth, my Bennett sisters, and take charge. Be blessed.
Tell me why the stars do shine. Tell me why the eyes between. Tell me why.
Greeting bells and friends. I am Jen Ferris, former Miss Bennett College from the class of 1996. I welcome you to this year's virtual White Breakfast. When I enrolled at Bennett in 1996, I never realized how many sisters I'd adopt. I also never realized that by bringing my camera with me from Atlanta, Georgia as a fresh woman and carrying it around for 4 years, that I would capture some of the most special, hilarious, naughty, and memorable moments, all of which will remain with all of us forever. I also never realized that the same camera would freeze sisters of mine in time forever, and some I will never see again because they have transitioned into the next life. Regardless, they will always be with me, and they will always be with us. Until We Meet Again by Dorothy Mae Cavendish. We think about you always. We talk about you still. You have never been forgotten, and you never will. We hold you close within our hearts, and there you will remain to walk and guide us through our lives until we meet again. May God bless all of you at this year's White Breakfast.
sure you all enjoyed both songs, Tell Me Why, and of course, our preference song that always gets a big rah, rah, rah. We also know that our pictorial showed us at our very best, and we still are our very best. At this time, we're going to move to an important element of this morning's program. It is my pleasure to introduce another Golden Bell, my classmate, our North Carolina Senator, the Honorable Gladys Ash Robinson, who also is the chair of our Bennett Board of Trustees, who will introduce our esteemed Congresswoman. So, Bell, Gladys Ash Robinson, it's now your turn.
Well, thank you, my sister Bernadette Gregory Watts. And what a wonderful day this is to celebrate with all of the Golden Bells and my sisters, over 130 something of us, I understand, and that is phenomenal. So I want to thank you all for managing this program. I want to thank the co-chairs and BCNA President Natalie Parker and her team. And I want to especially applaud our president, Suzanne Walsh, for the phenomenal job she's done in continuing our Bennett legacy and moving us to a new plateau. So thank you all. But it's my pleasure this morning to introduce for our 50th class reunion breakfast, a stalwart for Bennett College and other HBCUs, the Honorable Congresswoman for North Carolina's 12th Congressional District, Dr. Alumnae S. Adams. You know, after winning a special election in November 2014, Congresswoman Adams was sworn in immediately as the 100th woman elected to the 113th Congress. And she's been elected since to her 4th term in November of last year. Representative Adams serves on many committees, on the Committee on Financial Services, Education and Labor, Committee on Agriculture, and she holds several leadership awards. You know, normally we don't go a long time, but I've got to tell you all she's doing because you need to know and you need to follow her. She is Assistant Whip for the Democratic Caucus, Chairwoman of the Committee on Education and Labor, Subcommittee on Workforce Protections, Vice Chairwoman of the Committee on Agriculture, and she has numerous subcommittee assignments like Workforce Protection, Civil Rights and Human Services Commission on Education and Labor, Nutrition Oversight, and Department Operations on Agriculture, and Oversight and Investigations on Financial Services. Now, the wonderful stuff that I know all of you know about are the many accomplishments she's made since she went to Congress. One of her her signature legislative accomplishments is the enactment of H.R. 5363 called Future Act, Fostering Undergraduate Talent by Unlocking Resources for Education. And that permanently provides funding totaling $255 million a year for all minority serving institutions like Bennett College, including $85 million for HBCUs. She is the founder. Now don't get it wrong, don't get it twisted. She is the founder and co-chair of the Congressional Bipartisan Historically Black Colleges and Universities Caucus. Now she has bipartisan support, that's great, but remember she founded it. And it supports HBCUs and their graduates. Since this inception, the caucus has procured $1.3 billion in funds for HBCUs to rebuild their campus infrastructure, secured additions to the Farm Bill, which includes $40 million to HBCUs for scholarships, funding for newly established centers of excellence in agriculture, and additional funding for agricultural and research. Let me share, though, the most significant accomplishment for Bennett College, because as chair of the board and just being a colleague of hers, we have leaned on her, but she does not yell. She goes forth and she does for us. And so through her efforts, since going to Congress, Congresswoman Adams has educated and worked across the aisles to get forgiven billions of dollars in capital loans secured against HBCU campuses like Bennett College. All of our campuses had this money that was secured against their campuses. They couldn't borrow it anymore. Bennett had over $26 million in debt. And do you know what? We no longer have that debt. We no longer have that debt. The debt is forgiven. And we've even gotten over $2 million back in escrow funds. Ain't God good? Thank you, Congresswoman Adams. She established the annual HBCU Brain Trust as well, which allows faculty, staff, and students of HBCUs to visit Capitol and promote their own agendas. Through her career, Representative Congresswoman Adams is known for her zeal for education for all students and advancing legislation that boosts HBCUs. She has introduced programs as well that benefit our children in secondary schools. Now, she's quite vocal about her 40 years as an art history professor at Bennett College. You wouldn't know she's an Aggie Belle, but that's all right, we claim hers. And she got funds while she was at Bennett to renovate Still Hall to house much of the art secured on our campus, and she secured a lot of that. She's a champion of civil rights and led the effort to increase student civic participation, coining the phrase, Bennett Bells are voting bells. Bennett Bells are voting bells, and organizing marches to the polls. And that's why we have phenomenal turnout in civic engagement. She is an Aggie Belle, and she received her degree from North Carolina A&T in '68 and her master's in arts education in '72, and later her PhD from The Ohio State University in art education and multicultural education. Her alma mater, A&T, has awarded her the highest honor given to an individual who fights against social justice and helps improve the world, the Human Rights Medal. And she was also inducted into the National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame. Her particular history is of note as she began her career in the 1980s by becoming the first African American woman ever elected to the Greensboro City School Board then. She later went on to serve 9 years at the Greensboro City Council, and from there she served 10 terms in the North Carolina House of Representatives, District 28. During her tenure, she rose to become chair of the North Carolina Legislative Black Caucus and later the chair of the North Carolina Black Caucus Foundation, which awards over $10,000 annually to each of our 10 North Carolina HBCUs. And now she's taken that commitment for Greensboro, Charlotte, and the citizens of North Carolina to Washington to effect a lifetime commitment to effecting social change. Her mantra is the Greek proverb, a society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in. Congresswoman has certainly planted many trees and efforts that she may not see grow, but we know that many students and people of our country will reap the benefits. I introduce you to my friend, my mentor, my stalwart for justice, Janelle and Billy's mother, and most importantly, the grandmother of Jocelyn Lindsay, Aaron Lindsay, Billy E. Adams III, and Miracle Summer. North Carolina Congresswoman for the 12th Congressional District, the Honorable Dr. Alma S. Adams.
Good morning. Good morning, and thank you so much for that wonderful introduction to still my Senator Gladys Robinson. To the Bennett College National Alumnae Association, Madam President Suzanne Walsh, to the national officers of this organization, to my good friend Deborah Love, and to all of the Bennett Bells in the house. It is a glorious day. Thank you for inviting me to be with you for the White Breakfast. It is a long-standing tradition that I've come to appreciate over my many years at Bennett. And yes, I am an Aggie Bell, and I'm proud to wear the blue and white that Bennett, to represent Bennett. Senator Robinson, thank you for your service to our state, to our community, to Bennett College. And thank you for your generous words. And so as we gather even virtually this morning during these pandemic times on the Lord's Day, we praise God for so many blessings that we are highly favored, and we're able to celebrate how the Lord has kept us in this institution now for well over 148 years. I do want to bring you greetings from North Carolina's 12th Congressional District, comprised of more than 800,000 residents of Charlotte, Mecklenburg, home to a great HBCU, Johnson C. Smith University. On behalf of our Speaker of the House, our Majority Leader, our Minority Whip Clyburn, our Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, who chairs the Congressional Black Caucus, and 57 of our members of the CBC, known as the conscience of the Congress. And then from a very special HBCU alum sister, my former colleague in Congress, Kamala Harris, the first woman, the first African American, and the first Asian American vice president of these United States. And just think, a few nights ago, she made history again, sitting in the House chamber behind President Biden with Speaker Nancy Pelosi for the State of the Union address, a very first for two women to be sitting behind any president for this historic State of the Union address. And so let me begin by applauding Bennett College for a century and almost a half of resilience. And to this National Alumni Association and to all of the chapters across the country, for your phenomenal ongoing support for dear old Bennett College, but most especially for realizing how essential HBCUs are, and they have been and continue to be for this nation. You know, I was always impressed by the comment, by the commitment, by the tenacity and the love, and also the financial support that was demonstrated and is demonstrated by Bennett women and alumni chapters across the nation, because you've paved the way for this college to survive and thrive since her founding in 1873 as the United Methodist Church related institution. You know, in 1873, when Bennett was founded, even way back then, of course, we kind of say back in the day, HBCUs were thought to be essential and relevant, and folks knew then that a mind, especially a Black mind, was a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Bennett College has been focus-driven, mission-oriented throughout her existence, and under President Walsh, and I want to commend our president, who has redefined the way forward from just simply saving Bennett, so to speak, to the communities investing in Bennett and the institution's future and viability and sustainability. And so, alums, as you rethink possible, I guarantee you that you're going to be well ahead of the game and ready to go once Congress passes the president's infrastructure jobs bill, because I can tell you there's going to be something in it for HBCUs. I'm going to make sure that we get some of the pie. Now, I'm going to be introducing, I'll speak a moment about that, my HBCU infrastructure bill, Ignite. And hopefully that's going to be next week, and it will be bipartisan. But to me, that's what resilience looks like. Having the ability and the strategic know-how, and quite frankly, the good common sense to be able to kick stumbling blocks out of your way and to move forward. And I'm convinced, President Walsh, that a setback is just a setup in preparation for a comeback. And you know, we all know that Bennett has worked hard, still working hard, to use her stumbling blocks as stepping stones and to use President Biden's words to build Bennett back better. You know, those 40 years that I spent molding thousands of students on our campus, it was obvious that they were a lot like me, first generation low socioeconomic background, some arriving not fully prepared to do college work. That's where I was. But nevertheless, Bennett College made a committed investment in those young women who entered and continue to embrace the right to learn as fundamental, believing in access to opportunity, as like W.B. Du Bois spoke about, when he declared that of all of the civil rights for which the world has struggled and fought for 500 years, the right to learn is undoubtedly the most fundamental. So you see, growing up in the ghetto of Newark, New Jersey, first person in my family to have an opportunity to go to college, I had a strong Black praying mama who did domestic work, and she embraced that same belief in education. And even though she didn't finish high school, she didn't attend an HBCU or any CU for that matter, but she was smart enough to know the value of education, and it would be my pathway. Indeed, it has been. An HBCU, North Carolina A&T, took this poor Black girl, made an investment in me, and molded and shaped me into what they knew I could become. HBCUs are resilient in their support for students who look like us. My mom pastored for 38 years before she went on to be with the Lord at age 90. But as a woman of faith, she always told me when I was worried about things and looking at things and wondering what was going to happen, she would say, Alma, I don't care what it looks like. I believe God. And so I offer the same advice to you, my Bennett sisters. You know, prayer changes things, and faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Bennett College Alumnae Association, resilience must be your stepping stone, because giving up is not an option for HBCUs like Bennett. So thank you for continuing to push forward, President Walsh and Senator Robinson and all of you. But even though we know Bennett Bells do it well, we still have a lot of work to do. Service is the rent we pay for living on this earth. And I'm trying to do my part to keep my rent fully paid up, and I encourage you to do the same. But bottom line, it's really about accountability and responsibility. Advancing the mission of HBCUs and the success of the communities that they serve must be on the minds of our country's leaders. And more importantly, it must be on their agendas. And it certainly has been on mine, and it's a high priority for my agenda. So that's what our schools do, and that's what Bennett does. HBCUs are unique, and they understand students' value, and they help students realize that, you know, you're not your circumstance. And where you start out in life doesn't have to determine where you'll end up in life or just how far you can go. Our schools translate a vision of self-empowerment, resiliency for students, and we must continue to advocate for our institutions' well-being. Bennett College and more than the 102 of our nation's HBCUs are not just policy issues for me as a member of Congress. They're personal, born out of respect, out of love, and appreciation for what HBCUs have done for me, including allowing me to serve on the campus of Bennett College for 40 years. You know, deeply embedded in the fabric of our country, some of our schools date back to the mid-1800s, where they served as teachers' colleges for the African-American community. For generations, HBCUs have ensured that African-Americans could attain what's owed them, a first-class education. And I'm going to tell you something, and I know it's Sunday, but I don't know about you. But like Fannie Lou, I get sick and tired of being sick and tired, hearing that same old question that people are still asking, do we still need HBCUs? My response always remains the same. What in the hell would we do without HBCUs? I guess if we didn't have them, we'd probably have to invent them. But what we are not going to do is to do without HBCUs. And I do approve that message. Now, don't let anybody fool you. HBCUs remain as vital today as they have ever been. And I think that we're witnessing in our country the pandemics of racism and health disparities and violence. HBCUs are needed even more now because there's a climate of hatred and intolerance and inhumanity in America today. And it's simmering, and it's got to stop. You know, I know the power of our schools, and I know you do too, because we account for 42% of all of the Black engineers, 47% of Black female engineers. We produce 27% of all African-American STEM graduates, 50% of our lawyers, 50% of African-American public school teachers, 80% of our judges, HBCUs are responsible for creating some of our country's most motivated and exceptional young entrepreneurs. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, Sister Bernadette, but that's why resiliency matters, because our children matter and our HBCUs matter, and Bennett College matters too. You know, when I came to Congress 6 years ago, I founded the first congressional bipartisan HBCU caucus. It's now bicameral. We've got more than 100 members. Co-chairing with me is Representative French Hill, a Republican from Arkansas. And over the last 3 years, we've successfully introduced and passed legislation partnering with the CDC to secure more than $100 million of additional funding across the federal budget for HBCUs, including $80 million in new scholarships, new centers of excellence, to help train and prepare aspiring farmers. And for the first time, and I know Bennett's not in 1890, but you need to know that for the first time, we now have equity in the carryover rule for our 1890s, so they can carry over 80% of their funding, just like the 1862s, the white schools have always been able to do. You know, the first ever HBCU diversity and inclusion scorecard encourages the private sector to create those pipelines of opportunity for our students. The Partners Act was started to strengthen relationships between HBCUs and the federal government. Now, each federal agency must submit plans on an annual basis outlining their goals to engage with HBCUs. And we call that accountability. You can't just talk the talk, you got to walk it too. So I was delighted, and you've heard Senator Robinson say, I was delighted to sponsor the first standalone HBCU bill in 20 years, the Future Act, because I'm concerned about our future. And it protects and permanently ensures out of the $255 million, $85 million a year for HBCUs to prepare the next generation of STEM graduates. Now, we don't have to go back and beg for that money every year. We shouldn't have had to in the first place. But even in the CARES Act that we passed, we secured and set aside in terms of COVID-19 relief funds for our schools. Over $1.3 billion in debt relief, as has been said, was achieved for institutions participating in the HBCU Capital Financing Program. And that was huge. And I'm glad that Bennett was one of the participants, President Walsh, and was able to benefit. And just so you know, I intend to continue to build a close working relationship with the Biden-Harris administration regarding issues confronting our schools. A new administration led in part by a vice president who's an HBCU graduate gives me hope, because we are presented with a unique opportunity to advocate for these institutions at the highest levels of government, but we must be resilient and we must be persistent. Another initiative I just want to quickly mention, the HBCU Partnership Challenge. We've got over 58 partnership companies helping to bridge that gap between the public and private sectors who have pledged to make HBCUs a key part of their D&I strategy. So let me just take a moment and share with you briefly the bill that I mentioned earlier, which I intend to introduce in the coming weeks. It's called the Ignite HBCU Excellence Act. And it's got a long name. It stands for the Institutional Grants for New Infrastructure, Technology, and Education at HBCUs. Now, this is an important time to tell the story of our schools and the future of our schools. HBCUs are important, and that's why this legislation is being introduced. It is the next big step for our beloved colleges and universities. It represents investments of billions of dollars to rectify over a century of systemic neglect. Our institutions are strong, but they've received unequal treatment over the past 150 years. The incredible success of HBCUs comes despite systemic underfunding at both the federal and state levels. Too often, our schools are forced to struggle with chronic underfunding while also lacking access to alternative sources of capital that's available to other schools. Now, this bill will make key investments to fix this injustice. You've heard the president go about the country with his plan, talking about jobs and investment in infrastructure. But infrastructure includes more than just roads and bridges. And if you read that, you'll see that we are included. This bill will will provide funding for renovation, repair, also for modernizing and constructing new campus facilities, including instructional, research, and residential spaces. It will provide access to campus-wide reliable high-speed broadband to support digital learning and long-term technological capacity. It will develop campus facilities to support community-based partnerships that provide students and community members with academic, health, and social services. It will also preserve buildings with historic significance. Bennett has a lot of those. It will ensure the resilience, the safety, and sustainability of campus facilities. President Biden has pledged to invest in his bill $70 billion in HBCUs during his presidency. Well, we want to make sure that we get that money. But the Ignite HBCUs Act will help this administration make good on that promise. This is a critical moment for our schools. And so as we continue to face the COVID-19 pandemic, it's never been more important to be resilient and make sure that every talented student has access to a world-class science, technology, engineering, arts, and math education. Our strong institutions deserve equal and equitable treatment, nothing less. So ladies, let me just tell you, we've got to continue to work together to ensure that the institutions of higher learning that educate our most precious commodities, the minds of Black and brown students, receive equal funding and equal support. Now, let me just say that again, equal funding and equal support. This past Friday, a few days ago, I spoke to the 2021 graduating class at Alabama A&M, and I declared emphatically then that our schools are HBCU strong. They're strong because of the resilience they maintained over these years, centuries. And so the students are too. They're HBCU strong, like those we educated at Bennett College. And to all of those baby boomers out there and beyond, remember that our future is in their hands. And so how we confront some of the hardest problems facing the world today and tomorrow, climate change, artificial intelligence, famine, war, racism, hunger, disease, including a pandemic, will rest on the shoulders of the next generation of Bells who are relying on the resilient leadership of each of us. National Alumnae, Bennett, Bells, you do it well, but I want to remind you not to stand in your own way, not be a shadow. Because Emerson once said that most of the shadows in one's lifetime come from standing in one's own sunshine. So don't stand in your own sunshine and don't allow anybody else to block our view. So stay in the game, make resiliency your life's work, and continue to plant seeds of prosperity today that will yield substantive fruit for tomorrow. Because somebody once said that a community can only grow great when old men and old women plant trees under which we know we will never sit. Thank you. God bless you, Bennett Bells.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I tell you, we'd like to be hearing this many, many days from today. Thank you, Congresswoman Alma Adams. We love you. At this time, we yield to our esteemed president, who has been excited all morning as we've seen her in some of the captions. But it is my pleasure to introduce our president, the Belle of Bells, Suzanne Walsh. Welcome.
Oh my goodness, Belle of Bells. Okay, that's a lot of pressure. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much to all of you for being here, for joining us virtually. Representative Alma Adams, come on, everybody. I mean, just brings it every time, brings the truth every time. There is so much in her bio that is like the secret behind the scenes work that she does that you would not even believe. So there's like all of this work that you know about, and then she's also working behind the scenes in incredible ways. Her job is never ending, also including taking calls from me at very late hours. But anyway, we are very thankful for her and all of her work, all of her leadership. Thank you to Chair Robinson. I'm going to say a little bit more about what she's been up to as well in a moment. And hello to the classes of 1970, 71, and 96. When I thought about today, I started to think about, well, what is it about the white breakfast? Where did this all start? We've heard some discussion today about reminding us of the history of the white breakfast. And what I thought about was Dean Scarlett, who is our forever dean. I think everyone can agree to that. Our forever dean, Dean Scarlett, talks a lot about what was it like to be on campus when David Dallas Jones was president. And so because he's the one who started the breakfast, I started to look back in the archives to see, who was this man? What was he talking about? How did he come to this place of thinking about the importance of the white breakfast? And in the end, I think it's really because he cared so deeply about our students. And he wanted to make sure that community was a key part of every aspect of Bennett College. There's a wonderful piece, I hope a lot of you have read it, in the North Carolina Historical Review. And I'm going to read a little bit today, which usually I don't read, but I just thought these descriptions of Bennett College during that time of David Dallas Jones are so timely, or timeless perhaps, for who we are today and who we aspire to be. So there's a chapter which is entitled Race, Women, Negro Politics, and the Flowering of Radicalism at Bennett College, 1900 to 1945. We've been at this a minute. And this is by Jelani M. Favors. And what I really liked was there's an introductory quote. And this introductory quote comes from a piece, which I think is a fascinating title, called Methodist Adventures in Negro Education in 1922. But I want you to just think about, does this sound familiar as I read it? If there is one thing more than another which stands out in the present race situation in America, possibly it is that we have today a new Negro, a Negro who is very unlike the Negro of the past, and whom it is very easy to misunderstand. The fawning, hat in his hand Negro belongs to another generation. The alert, intelligent, capable, self-reliant Negro characterizes the present. The danger, and without a doubt there is danger, arises when we insist on treating the second as though he were the first. And when I think about where we are today, where we are with Black Lives Matter, if I replace the word Negro, I'm really kind of talking about what we've been seeing today. And this chapter goes on to talk specifically about Bennett College during that era. At Bennett College, the new Negro era produced several generations of women who responded to the challenges of white supremacy in various ways. As historian Glenda Gilmore emphasizes in her classic study of race and gender in North Carolina, in the early 20th century, the uplift mission of the Black progressives created much more than an army of women who passively critiqued and addressed race-related issues from their elitist perch. Upon graduation, Black women, Black teachers, and activists shaped and reshaped strategies to outmaneuver the daily manifestations of racism they encountered on their way to the front. Sometimes they fought straightforwardly, sometimes covertly, the open, ugly faces of segregation, racial violence, and economic exclusion. And they tried to peel away white supremacy's thousand disguises as well. Again, when I think about where we are today, when I think about the movements, the Black Lives Matter movements, when I think about our current students, when I think about all of you alums,
This is so emblematic today of Bennett. What I also think is really interesting is that at the same time, this really important description comes through about this era of Bennett. Such was the nature of college life at Bennett. One could enjoy playful banter with friends, learn about the best practices in domestic homemaking, and attend a stirring rally to defend the race, all in a week's time on campus. And I think that, again, remains true. There's sort of the practical moments, there are the academic moments, and then there's the moments like, we are going to be active, we are going to march to the polls. Bennett bells are voting bells. And so what I then think, to bring it sort of all the way home from this piece that I find intriguing, is that what David Dallas Jones was known for was exposing students to faculty who were intrinsically linked to the growing civil rights movement. And in an article published in the Association of American Colleges Bulletin, Dr. Jones specifically outlined the cultural obligations of faculty teaching at HBCUs, and noted that one of their chief roles was to empower their students to tackle social and political problems. Again, you see where Bennett's history is, you see where we are today. And so when I thought about that, I thought about all of you, especially those of you who are in the golden classes, because you all start to tell the truth. You know, it's my favorite thing. And you do start to talk about that playful banter. You do start to also talk about more what really went into those moments of civil rights and social justice opportunities and challenges that you took on during your era. I also hope that you will just ponder and think about those friends with whom you had that banter, with whom you marched to the polls, and think about those faculty that you had who empowered you to tackle social and civil rights issues. And the thing that I think is really intriguing about Bennett is it's not just the faculty who are delegated to civil rights and social justice issues. It's not just poli-sci. You could be an art professor, Representative Adams, and encourage students to be involved and go to the polls. You may have been involved in protesting on the lawn of the president's house. I don't want to say who. Oh, okay, Ms. Watts, I saw you nodding because, you know, I'm still trying to collect names about who was involved in that. So good to know you were there. And I think it also, those protests may or may not have led Senator Robinson to become Senator Robinson. It's good practice. And I want to pause for 1 second on our board chair, because I have to say, I don't know how many of you have been paying attention to what's happening in politics in North Carolina, but the Bennett College bill, it has our name on it, just passed in North Carolina. What? And this is to enable our students to still receive need-based scholarships in North Carolina. This is a big deal, but wait, there's more. Not only was this led by the chair of our board, it passed unanimously. When does that even happen? I mean, back to what we heard from Representative Adams, this is our time in HBCUs. And I think what's so important is this bill was not about saving Bennett. It was about investing in Bennett, investing in our students. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Senator Robinson. I also think that this is such a special place because, again, it doesn't matter what you majored in. You still have an opportunity to engage in those things that David Dallas Jones said were so important, the ability to tackle social and political problems. I think of alums such as Deirdre Cooper Owens and Yvette Dion, who are both championing Black women's reproductive health in beautiful and important ways. I think about, oh my goodness, I forgot to write down her name. There is a judge, I'm following this election. There's a Bennett Bell running for election as a judge in Pennsylvania. So really, again, it doesn't matter what your major was at Bennett. What we expect from you is we expect greatness. We expect you to engage in those social and political problems. And we really think that part of your journey at Bennett
has enabled you to get ready to do that kind of work. We thank you. We appreciate you. Your continued investment in Bennett and our students is tremendous. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a wonderful Alumni Week. I'll be seeing you all, I think, a variety of times this week, but thank you for allowing me to join you this morning, and congratulations to our golden classes.
And thank you, President Walsh. I tell you, the Golden Bells are looking forward to being with you later this week in some prime time, separate time. And we know that you'll get a chance to maybe put a few names and faces together. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are moving towards the end of this wonderful virtual breakfast. And yes, we know most of you, wherever you are dining on some substance. We too are dining on all that we have learned here today, the investment of our future. And as we are bells, wherever we are, we carry the torch high. We are the legacy of all of the values, traditions, and principles that we learned where? At dear old Bennett College. I would like at this time to acknowledge the committee, Bells Joyce Ballantyne of 78, class of 78, Francina Brown, class of 86, and Constance Lindsay, class of 87. I would be remiss if I did not also recognize my cohort's other coordinators for the golden class of 1971. Jimmy Gravely, Sherry Peterson Keith, and yours truly. This has been quite a journey. And we are wearing our golden medallions well. We will be wearing them from this point on. At this time, we're going to exit our program with the following things. We will have announcements from the college, from Deborah Love, our Senior Director of Alumni Relations and Annual Giving, followed by announcements by our National BCNAA President, Natalie Parker Stewart. And of course, we could not end a program without singing the alma mater. Following that, benediction from my golden classmate, Reverend Belinda Robinson Todd, all in that order. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Watts, for this opportunity to make some announcements on behalf of the college. I must say what a wonderful event this has been. Madam President Natalie Parker, you and your team have just, my heart is always full after attending white breakfasts, and especially with some of my most favorite women in the whole world, Bernadette, Senator Robinson, Congresswoman Adams, you know I love you to the moon and back, and just all of you who have molded my life so much so. So thank you so much for this opportunity. And I must say that while we had the breakfast, I'm also thinking about one of our former board chairs who is the class of 1970, Andrea Harris, because I know she's looking down on us. And, my thoughts have been with her throughout the whole day. So Andrea, we know you're looking down on us, and we thank her also for all her contributions. Just two announcements for the classes. I want to let all reunion classes know that I am starting to work on your class reports today. The amounts that will be sent to you are from July 1st, 2020 through April 30th. So we're running the reports starting today. And so I'll start sending those to you this week, also to the chapters. And the announcements will also be made at the gala. So we will have that at the gala, but we will also have that for you. And specifically to the class of 1971, I want to thank your class coordinators for making the suggestion that your participation during commencement be a tribute to you in pictures. So we have sent you the links And many of you are downloading your pictures into the Dropbox. Some of you are sending them to me, and I'm putting them in the Dropbox. But what we plan to do, we have access to your yearbook and those pictures. So we're going to do a comparison with your graduation picture and your current picture. So tomorrow is the deadline. No extensions, because we have to get all of that together so that we can incorporate into the commencement program. So thank you to those who have already sent your pictures. Huh?
Did you see Senator Robinson's face when you said we were going to compare their graduation picture?
No, I missed her face, but I've already seen her picture. I know what she looked like then and a lot of them. So tomorrow again is the deadline. If you have any problems, send me an email and I'll see what I can do to help. But I encourage you, if you don't know how to do it, just ask one of your grandchildren, children, friends to just put your picture in the Dropbox, and we'll start working on that on Tuesday as we get your pictures on Monday. So those are all the announcements. Thank you again for a wonderful opportunity to attend this, Madam President Natalie Parker, and to your team. Have a great day. Natalie, you're muted.
And then she hung up.
Oh, no. Natalie, you're muted.
Are you on your phone, Natalie?
I think she is.
Let's see. Can we unmute? Can we unmute her?
All right, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? All right. Good morning, Bennett sisters. I apologize for the technical difficulties, but we appreciate the fact that you are here. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we are exceedingly abundantly glad in it. We are truly blessed to have been able to have this event. And for that reason, give and it shall be given back to you. And so we're going to encourage you as a part of your participation to go ahead and pay attention to that giving button. That's going to take you directly to the college to continue to contribute and support the legacy that Dr. Adams talked about, that we are the legacy of Bennett College, and we will continue to be that legacy both through our support and through our giving. I want to say very special thanks to all of our speakers and guests this morning, the women who are willing to do the work. So to the committee, I first want to say thank you. It's been amazing. It has not been without its glitches and hitches and mainly user error, but we've gotten through it and we've pivoted, and you bells have been resilient. You've been anti-fragile. You have been agile and helping us have our first ever virtual white breakfast. Can you imagine virtual white breakfast? I don't think any of us would have ever thought to do this. But I'm thankful that we are learning new skills every day in order to serve you. The second thing I want to say is stay in fellowship with us. So this platform will be open so that you can socialize with each other for another whole hour. So enjoy each other. To the class of 1970 and 1971, congratulations on 50 years. I have seen you all And my prayer is that I am just as energetic, as knowledgeable, as feisty, as sharp as all of you. It is an aspiration, bar none. To Congresswoman Adams, I cannot say enough. I took your classes at Bennett. I marched with you at Bennett. You are still continuing to be an inspiration. God bless you in the things that you do. To Chair Robinson, thank you to continuing to be a support to Bennett. And to leading us in a new way, in a new time frame. To President Walsh, thank you dearly for your partnership, and to Deborah Love, the same. We really appreciate the partnership that you give us. I've heard some things that I want to say. We are way pavers. The infrastructure of HBCUs is going to be revived. And my favorite part, Dr. Adams, the ability and the strategic know-how and the common sense to kick a stumbling block out of your way to move forward. I'm going to just forever remember that. But to that, I want to say that we have several events going on the entire week just for you. Melissa Watson, Tonisha Colburn, and the entire committee has done an amazing job of preparing for you. So this evening at 7 p.m. Eastern, we're going to worship together. Why? Because we're going to continue to give thanks to the God that continues to give to us. So please join us as we have our own Bennett Bell chaplain, Reverend Dr. Natalie McLean, the other Natalie, as I like to call her. The other Natalie is going to be giving us a word, and it's a service for bells, by bells, and we're excited to be able to worship together. On Monday and Tuesday, we have a host of workshops. If you registered on Wednesday, I can't wait to join the 50-year class and having some tea. I want the real tea, and I want to hear all the gossip too. Like, I can't wait. President Walsh, we're going to have a good time there. On Wednesday evening, we're going to have the State of the College. So President Walsh and Congresswoman Chair Robinson and Congresswoman Adams talked a lot about what's happening, but we're going to dig a little deeper on Wednesday. So plan to join our webinar as President Walsh brings her entire team together to share the points they have on the scoreboard for Bennett College, because we're continuing to progress. On Thursday, we're going to be mixing it with the bells. The bells that like to have their little sip, and so we're going to have a mixologist come and do some signature drinks. And on Thursday night, we're going to have a party through the decades. If you like music, and I believe, if I remember correctly, all the bells do, the party was the thing that we liked to do. So we're going to enjoy and socialize there. And on Saturday morning, we will have our Bennett business meeting at 11:30 Eastern, followed by the gala in the evening. So look, we haven't been able to dress up and go out, so dress up and stay in and come have fun at the gala. And I'm happy to announce that our entertainment for that evening will be none other than the Hamiltons. The Hamiltons are a great trail group here in North Carolina, and they are excited to be partnering with the Bells at the gala. So please, ladies, please join us, get your money's worth, hang out with the sisters. We plan something every day just so that we don't have to sit in these seats for longer than needed. But we're excited to spend Virtual Alumni Week with you. God bless you, and we look forward to seeing you for the rest of the week.
Harmonies of grateful grace, we thy daughter
is to follow at this time, along with the benediction. There will be pre-recorded music. Thank you. Technical people.
That was beautiful. Lovely. And it always brings back such warm memories. Thank you, everyone, for such an inspiring morning. And so now, may the Lord bless you and keep you, my sisters. May He keep you caring deeply. May He keep you caring socially and politically. And may He bless you all, my bells. May He lift up His face to shine upon you and be gracious to this institution, to you and your families. May the Lord lift up His countenance and give us all peace. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for attending the White Breakfast program. We invite you to stick around and connect with friends. 6 ways to network. Remain at your table and participate in a small group setting. Utilize the event chat to share messages with all event attendees at once by typing in the event chat to the right of your screen. You may also enter the networking queue and join a networking space where you can meet new people. Each 10-minute cycle will match you up with another Bennett Bell alum at random and automatically connect you with more alumni for as long as you choose to remain in the queue. You can also direct text message your friends by clicking on the tilted arrow at the top right-hand corner of your screen and direct message a guest of your choice. Start a one-on-one video call right here in Hopin. Connect with a specific person by looking to the right of your screen and clicking on People. Type your friend's name in the search bar, click on their name, and select Invite to Video Call. The last networking option is a group video chat in Bell Connect. Looking to connect with a group of friends? Look to the right of your screen and click on People. At the bottom of the attendee list, click on Bell Connect and choose up to 4 people for a private video chat right here during the event. We hope you enjoy your networking hour. Have a great afternoon.
Dr. Watts, you did amazing.
Thank you. All of us did. All of us.
It was a great program, Daphne, and all of you. Wonderful.
Thank you, Cheryl.